Again, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you are watching this. My name is Admiral Jim Loy, and I was asked to provide you just a thought or two with regard to the modern day Coast Guard as compared, if you will, to the old days when I was commandant all the way back in 2002, from 1998 to 2002. I think it's really important for us all to understand two dimensions of the service. One of them is the things that never change, and one of them is the things that do change. I think the greatest skill set of the United States Coast Guard over time is its agility and its adaptability to cope with whatever the United States needs for that service to accomplish and do in the time frame that they're being asked to do it. So in my day, I will give you an example. On 9/11, which we all have great searing personal memories of, we woke up that morning doing about perhaps 3 or 4% of our capacity as an organization dedicated to something called port security. And I can tell you within 24 hours, we were devoting about 30% of the Coast Guard's capacity to port security, because that's what the nation needed to have us do in the immediate aftermath of the tragedy in New York, when we simply didn't know when or where the other shoe might fall. So I think the consistency with regard to the character of the people in this organization and the fact that it is military, maritime, and multi-mission. Those three things were exactly the same when I was commandant. But today's young men and women have to do that in a changing pace of activity, even more dramatic than the time that I was leading the service. And to them I credit the continued investment of training and devotion to duty with regard to our core values as an organization that encourages the change necessary to adapt to the challenges of today as opposed to the challenges of yesterday. This organization has served this country for 225 years, convinced it will continue to be serving this country for 225 years more. But the reality is, what we don't want to change is the devotion to duty, the respect and the honor that is part and parcel of every person in uniform in the United States Coast Guard. The changes that come are usually imposed on us from afar. They're imposed on us for events like 9/11. They're imposed in us with regard to budgetary capability on the part of the Congress. They're imposed on us with regard to mission change and mission additions normally. And I'll just leave one quote behind. I remember as a witness at a hearing on Capitol Hill during my time, overhearing a conversation between two members of the Congress up on the dais. And one member leaned over and said to another, as they pondered whether or not to give the United States Coast Guard yet another mission. And the one said to the other, "You know, if it's really hard and it's really wet, give it to the Coast Guard. They'll figure out how to do it really, really well." And I think that's the reality of our service over time. Constancy with regard to dedication to purpose, and adaptability with regard to whatever America needs to have done on their day on watch.